Hi, I'm Gabriel Castro from exoticwoodpen.com. Thank you for downloading my video, part 2, pen segmenting with basic tools and jigs. In this video, we're going to make 3 different pens, and we're going to use the same tools that we used in the first video. We're going to use the table saw, the drill press, the bandsaw, the mini lathe, and we're going to add a few more jigs. There's 2 or 3 more different jigs we're going to add along the way. So if you didn't see part 1, download part 1 so the jigs that we're going to use will make more sense to you and how we made those. So anyway, this is going to be a long video. Enjoy it, and we'll see you at the end. Okay, this is my mold that I use for my acrylics or my steampunks. This is long enough. If you've seen one of my YouTube videos, I show how I made this. This is long enough where I can do a cigar pen and a Sierra pen. This is just a spacer for a cigar. And this is marked for the upper and the lower for a cigar pen, since I mainly make a lot of cigar pens. I'm going to use all these offcuts that I've been pulling off the drill press from the segmenting. And I'm just going to put these in at random. They don't have to be back to back or forward to back. You can pretty much do whatever it is or however you like. And there, that's pretty good. That's only a few pieces, 6 pieces. I'm going to mix a couple ounces of casting craft. I got it at Michael's, and put that on the digital scale. Oops. Put that to 0. I'm going to do about 2.5 ounces. Well, just a little more. It usually takes about 3 or 4 ounces to fill that entire mold, and it's about 10 drops. But before I do that, so that's clear. This is a Mars Black acrylic paint. I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of that onto a plastic knife, and then I'm going to mix that right into the casting craft before I add the hardener. So give that a good stir, mix that in there. That's going to be somewhat translucent. I'm going to add a little bit more, looks like. Just another little squeeze, about the same amount. Now, I don't have a pressure pot, so I just mix this up thoroughly and let it set for a few days. Take it out of the mold, and then I will let it cure a little bit more, another 3 days. I'm going to do 10 drops per ounce. That's let me take that out. That's a little over, what's it, 2.7, 2.8. So I'm going to do 20, probably 25 drops. Okay, mix that up. And you can use pretty much any pattern you like. Again, I have the wax paper down underneath it to protect my bench. I'll go and pour that in there. And again, stand these upright so that it goes flows from top to bottom. And also, the way this cures, it cures kind of slow since they don't have a pressure pot. Don't pull it out too soon. And like tomorrow, when I take this out, this is going to sink a little bit, so I'll just fill some more to the top. And see that those chips are starting to float a little bit. So I'm just going to weight that down with just a little Bacote blank, or not Bacote, Cocobolo, and then that'll keep those chips from rising that way. That sets all the way in. And then we'll give that, hopefully by the end of the video, that'll be all be ready. Okay, this is day 2 of this acrylic mold with the wood segment offcuts. And you can see there's a little bit of a void there. I'm just going to add a little bit more acrylic on top with some more black. I'm going to add about 1 ounce, and that should level that out. There's a little bit of dehydration there overnight. So, and just like before, I'm going to just using some acrylic black paint, and just a little bit. I don't even know how much that is, but maybe a little more. Put that in there. Probably should have added the other first to get it backwards, but that's okay. I will just put that back to 0 on the digital scale, and then I'll add 1 ounce. If I can get that lid open. Oh, just over 1 ounce, 1 point. That's okay. And we'll just go ahead and mix that up. And then I'll add the hardener afterwards. I'm not worried about any air bubbles, because all that's just going to float to the top and get out of the way. I've never really had any issues with them. I'm not saying that you won't get them, but it hasn't been an issue using this. And then, like before, 10 drops per ounce. So I'm going to add a little extra because of the acrylic paint. I'm going to do 15. Make sure that's thoroughly mixed. And that's just so that when I didn't use all of it, but that's close enough. Let that set another day before I take it out of the mold. Okay, so this is that piece that we had poured. And I'm going to go ahead and take this out of the mold. It's been in here a couple of days now. Okay, still a little tacky on the bottom, and there's a couple of small gaps right here. Like I said, I don't have a pressure pot, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some thin CA glue in those gaps and let that set overnight. And then I'm going to drill it out and let it air dry from the inside for a couple of days. I'll cut it and I'll take this to the disc sander, sand square off these edges, cut it, and then drill it out and let it air dry. And then we should be good to go. And that's a piece of Teflon scrap. It's a nice solid end. That side's a little tacky. Anyway, again, that's the size of a cigar blank. It's 1 inch square. Okay, in the mini lathe we have the acrylic blank that we made. casting with acrylic casting craft and black acrylic paint and the offcuts. This particular blank, after I cut it in half, I drilled it out and I let it air dry for a couple of weeks outside just so it would cure from the inside out as well. This one doesn't cure very good by itself. When the last one I made, when I had turned it, it was gummy inside, so I had to let it stop and then return it about a week later. So I wanted to do that ahead of time. So just some awareness on that end. And with this one, we're going to use the carbide tip. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that. See if there's any voids in there. Not too bad. Some right here I'm going to have to watch out for. As I get through the wood a little bit more, I'll see what that looks like. I had to stop for a second and rotate the cutter head just a little bit so I can get a fresh cutter to work on this. So we'll go ahead and start up again. very thin. Make sure you're doing this in a well-ventilated area. Spin and hit it with the activator. Turn that off. assemble it and see how it looks. Okay, now we're going to assemble that cigar pin. So start from the back as usual. Just like that. So this is the tip. Transmission. So we'll screw the transmission on first, and then we'll do the ink. There's our spring. Well, there is our completed pin, and that is our completed pin with the acrylic and the scrap offcuts. That looks pretty good.